Hello, welcome to Todd Miller TV. The question of the day, and I get this question all the time, is in a real estate transaction, who pays the commission? Is it the buyer? Is it the seller? Where does it come from? So I'm going to go through first the process by which it happens and then explain sort of the myths of who thinks they pay it. Okay. All right, so we'll start with a house. We'll just say the house is $100,000. That's the market value. Seller can choose to do all the work on his own, or he can hire an agent. Okay. We're just going to pick a number and say the agent goes in and says, hey, I'm going to charge 6%, right? So 6%. Now, that percent is what the listing broker is charging this person. They're charging the seller 6% of whatever they get. They're going to take that. They're going to keep that. Now, what they do is they go out there to other agents and go, hey, we've got this listing at 6%. If you bring the buyer, we'll give you 3. We'll sort of split it with you. If not, that's fine. We'll just keep the whole 6. One of our agents will sell it, or we'll just sell it ourselves, or whatever. Okay. So in that case, that 6% split in half, or split however. It doesn't have to be split in half. Whatever they're offering. So we'll just say 3%. Boom, buyer agent gets that amount, right? Title company's going to get a couple grand, title insurance, escrow fees, and then money to pay off some back taxes, things like that. Bang, seller nets $92,000. Well, remember the buyer's having to come in with the 100 grand. So the misconception is that the buyers always say, or a lot of buyers say, well, I'm paying the commission because it's my money funding the deal, and that money gets used to fund the transaction. And actually, that's not true. That's false logic, and I think buyers say that to make themselves feel better because this is what really happens. The seller, that money comes out of his 100 grand. Meaning, if you want to buy this house, it's 100 grand, whether or not he uses an agent. If you're trying to make an economic argument that, well, if we don't use the agent, that seller will sell it for 94 grand, then what I say is go out and find yourself a seller and just start knocking on doors and say, hey, I'll buy your house for 6% under what we believe market value is. And most of the time, the seller's going to say, no, I'll just hire an agent and make sure I'm getting, as much as I can and getting all the exposure, etc. So that $100,000 comes out of the seller. Now you're probably saying, well, if I'm the buyer, I'm paying my agent. You're not paying your agent, and the seller's not paying your agent. Actually, the listing broker gets the 6%, and then he splits it with the buyer agent. So the buyer agent is paid by the listing broker, not by the seller. There is not an agency relationship between those people. The seller and the buyer agent don't have agency relationship. He's being paid from the listing broker. Now, I've heard this many times that, well, but I bring the funds. So that's like saying, well, you're also paying for, when he sells his house and goes buy a car, you bought him the car. You just paid for a car for him, right? And then when he invests that money and makes the money, you paid for other things for him. It's not the case. As a matter of fact, if you're a seller and I say to you, well, I'm going to charge you 20%, don't worry, you're not going to pay for it, the buyer's paying for it. You're going to say, no, 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 no. House is worth 100 grand, I'm only going to get 80 grand. If I pay a 20% commission, so no. So if that was the case, if buyers really paid it, sellers would not negotiate because this number can be anything from $1 to whatever, $1 million. It could be whatever is negotiated. So misconception: the buyer doesn't pay the commission unless the buyer has a separate agreement with the agent, to where the buyer is paying the agent commission to a certain amount, or something like that. But you're not actually paying the commission. It's just part of the transaction. And just because you bring the funds doesn't mean you're paying it. What you're paying for is the house. Okay, if you're paying for the house and the commission, you're paying 106 grand. Anyway, I know it's controversial. A lot of people out there misinformation and they think very simplistically, but actually it's very organized the way it works. It works this way for a reason. Sellers pays the listing, pays the commission for the most of the time on a sale of a house. Anyway, that is my update for today, and hope to see you on another video. Thanks.